So obviously, if you're talking about the Avid, editing is a very important thing. And so we're going to break down the actual editing process into 3 separate videos. This is kind of the video that we're going to discuss how to just get footage from your bins into the timeline. And one way to do it is very similar to the way most Final Cut Pro users, or a lot of Final Cut Pro users, like to work, which is just dragging things directly from the bin down into the timeline. That certainly works with the Avid. To do that, just select a clip in your bin and you drag it down to the timeline and you're going. If there was not a sequence selected, like there wasn't a sequence originally, as soon as you drag something into the timeline area, it will create a sequence for you automatically, which it did. Called it untitled sequence. Let's just call it snowboarding. Great, so now we've got our snowboarding sequence. And if we want to add another clip to this, let's just choose this Ebbets Chase. We're going to just drag it down here. And if I want it to go directly to this transition, kind of like Final Cut Pro has that kind of magnetic clicking option in the timeline, which allows you to find the exact transition, the end of a clip or the beginning of a clip. Avid does it with the Command modifier key. So if you hold down Command and drag, see as I'm moving the cursor, it locks to that transition. If I let go of it, then I can put this anywhere I want it. So if you want to lock directly to the last part of a clip, hold down Command and drag, and boom, there you go. Now, let's say we want to insert a clip between these 2 spaces. We've got this shot and we've got this shot. We want to insert a shot in between them. Again, if we want to get our cursor to that spot, we can just, drag with the Command button down and it only goes to transitions. Let's find a clip. Here's a clip right here. If we wanted to insert, very similar to Final Cut Pro, the yellow arrow key is our extract button or a splice in, where it will ripple the edit down. The red arrow key, segment arrow key right here, this does lifts and overwrites. So if I were to grab a segment, it would leave a hole there and place this overwrite it someplace else. If I've got it in the yellow mode, then it's going to splice it in and ripple the effect. So let's ripple in this next shot. All you have to do is drag it down here. And if I want it to splice in right at that transition point, remember, hold down Command and drag, and boom. Now this new clip is in between the other 2 clips. Let's say I want to overwrite a clip right here, right after this big blast of snow happens right there. I want to overwrite a clip. Then instead of being in the yellow mode, we'll go to the red segment mode, pick the next clip, drag it down here. We don't want to hold down the in to out mark, although we could, because the Command button will also lock to the timeline locator bar, this blue bar here, as well as to any other transition. So if we want to put it right there, I've locked right to that spot and I release, and now I've intercut right as that big splash of snow goes up. We cut in this clip and we're back to the other clip and on to the next clip. Another cool way to edit in Avid is to go to frame view mode, open this bin up nice and big so you can see what you're doing, and you can organize these clips in a specific order just by dragging them. Find a specific order you like. Oh, we want a light clip and then a dark clip and maybe another clip. Put this clip in. If you can sort them in an order that you like, you can either create a new sequence that way, or let's say you want to have this little sequence of shots be at the end of the edit that you've already made. Let's say, geez, this is a bad edit anyhow, so maybe we want it to come in right there. We can hold down the Command key to find that exact edit. Make sure we're in overwrite mode because we don't want to have these 2 bad edits ripple down the timeline. Go to our bin, lasso these clips, and simply drag them right to the timeline, all back to back, right down the sequence, all together without having to do them individually. That's called storyboard editing mode. Very cool way to work. And next we'll try source record editing, which is editing from the source monitor into the sequence monitor instead of editing from a bin directly into the timeline.